Yan Emperor Shennong. Yan Emperor is one of the ancestors of our Chinese nation. The so-called Yan Huang now refers to Yan Emperor Shennong and Huangdi Xuanyuan. Yan Emperor Shennong was a great figure who made indelible contributions to the creation of the earliest civilization of ancient China, the development of social productivity, and the prosperity of the Chinese nation. He is a god who is inseparable from the inventions and creations in agriculture, industry, commerce, medicine, literature, and other fields, and has been respected and worshipped by the descendants of Yan and Huang in all dynasties. After Nuwa, he became the common ruler of the world. And since then, China has entered an agricultural society. After Fuxi established the surnames, people were divided into different clans. After Pangu created the world, and after Nuwa created humans and repaired the sky, countless springs, autumns, cold and summers have passed. On an ordinary evening, the setting sun in the west was like blood, and the crystal full moon in the east had quietly climbed up the willow branches. A girl named Ren Si was still wandering on the bank of Jiangshui. Young, beautiful, sentimental women in ancient and modern times, both in China and abroad, are the same. No one can guess what they are thinking. Suddenly, a red light shot out from the depths of the blue waves. Ren Sai looked up and saw a red-bearded dragon rising to the sky. Its eyes emitted 2 rays of light and met her gaze. When their eyes met, Ren Si felt her heart throbbing, as if she had felt something. She wiped her eyes with her hand, calmed down, and looked again, but saw that the dusk was gradually closing, and there was no wave. The sky and the river were all dark, so how could there be a dragon? The dragon could be seen from head to tail, but Ren Si became pregnant and gave birth to a son at full term. The son had a human body and a cow's head, and took the surname Jiang from Jiangshui. This son was the emperor of fire virtue in the south, so he was called Yan Emperor. When Yan Emperor, the sun god and the god of agriculture, was just born, 9 wells gushed out of the land around him. The water of these 9 wells is connected to each other. If you draw water from one of the wells, the water of the other 8 wells will fluctuate. In ancient times, there was no agriculture. People lived by hunting, fishing, and picking wild fruits. They suffered from hunger, cold, and danger, and lived a primitive, nomadic life. How can the natural growth of animals and fruits keep up with the speed of human reproduction? Once the wild animals and plants are eaten by people, won't the people of the world starve to death? Because people take food as their heaven. Yan Emperor is a very kind and loving god. He saw that the population was increasing day by day, and natural resources were gradually scarce, and he suddenly felt a sense of crisis. So Yan Emperor worked hard, risked his life, traveled all over the famous mountains and rivers, and experienced all kinds of hardships. Finally, in a beautiful place in the south, he found grain seeds suitable for human consumption. He told the people to sow in the reclaimed soil in spring, fertilize and irrigate frequently, and pull out weeds so that they could have a good harvest in autumn. Seeing that people were working very hard to cultivate and plant crops, he cut wood to make hoes and knead wood to make plows, and invented agricultural tools. Yan Emperor also asked the sun to emit enough light and heat to make the grains grow, and appointed the immortal Shennong as the rain master to observe the weather and adjust the weather. So the grains were abundant every year. The people sang with drum bellies, thanked Yan Emperor for his merits, and honored him as Shennong. Yan Emperor is not only the god of agriculture, but also the god of medicine. Yan Emperor taught people agricultural technology, guaranteed the source of materials for life, and founded medicine to ensure people's life and health. He toured the 4 directions and saw that most people had yellow and swollen faces, rheumatism, or the elderly, weak, sick, and disabled, suffered from diseases, which made him very uneasy. He traveled all over the mountains and collected exotic herbs in the world. Legend has it that Yan Emperor had a magic whip called Ochre Whip. Once all kinds of plants in the world are whipped by Ochre Whip, all kinds of properties will be revealed, whether they are poisonous or not, cold or hot. He treated patients according to the different medicinal properties of herbs. In order to further identify the properties and functions of the medicines and better save lives and heal the wounded, Emperor Yan personally tasted hundreds of herbs. His body was delicate and transparent, and his internal organs could be seen from the outside, so he tried the medicine on himself and watched how the herbs worked in his body. Emperor Yan made 2 bags and carried them with him. He planned to put the delicious ones in the left bag as food, and the unpalatable ones, with special effects, in the right bag as medicine. After he was ready, he began to taste hundreds of herbs. First, he tasted a fresh, small, green leaf. Once the small, green leaf fell into the stomach, it cleaned the stomach and intestines up and down, and washed all parts of the stomach clean and refreshing, making people feel very comfortable. Because the small green leaf went up and down in the stomach, it was like a back and forth inspection. Emperor Yan called it cha. He thought that cha was beneficial and edible, so he put it in the left bag. Later, people didn't know why it was written as tea. He then tasted a butterfly-like light red flower. The leaves were like feathers, and it looked beautiful. It smells fragrant when you pick it up, and tastes sweet when you eat it. This is what later generations call licorice. Shennong thought licorice was delicious, so he also put it in the bag on the left. Then he tasted a unique little green flower. The flower hangs on the stem like an ear of wheat, and the oval leaves have a small tip. Take it and taste it. It is bitter and sour, and there are thorns on the fruit. This thing kept bumping into the stomach, and it even made Yan Emperor's knees swollen like cow knees. Yan Emperor knew that it was not good, and hurriedly swallowed a handful of tea leaves to detoxify. This thing was later called Niu Shi, and was placed in Shennong's right bag. He tasted all the herbs in this way. Sometimes he was poisoned and swallowed a handful of tea leaves. On average, he was poisoned more than 10 times a day, and even worse, he was poisoned 70 times a day. Fortunately, he was able to immediately know the poisoning site and find a way to save it. After trying all the herbs, Yan Emperor placed warm, cool, cold, and hot medicines in different places, and wrote medical books and prescriptions according to the meaning of monarch, minister, assistant, and messenger for the benefit of mankind. The medical discipline was established at this time. Yan Emperor Shennong made important contributions to the survival, reproduction, and development of the Chinese nation. He made hoes, planted grains, tasted all the herbs, opened medicine, established the market, and opened the market for the first time, processed hemp into cloth, and the people wore clothes, made 5-stringed harps to entertain the people, carved wood into bows to intimidate the world, made pottery to improve life, established a calendar, set up stars to divide day and night, and set the sun and moon, taught the people to sow grains, teach the people medicine, teach the people to make pottery and painting, teach the people to hunt animals and keep fit, teach the people music and dance, and also teach the people wisdom and morality. It can be seen that during the Yan Emperor period, morality, intelligence, physique, and beauty were fully valued and developed. Yan Emperor constantly used his wisdom to improve people's lives and their living patterns, and achieved remarkable results. However, in his later years, Yan Emperor's creativity was almost exhausted, and his half-brother, another great leader, Huangdi, began to rise. Huangdi was also an enterprising and capable leader and their ways of dealing with the world produced contradictions. The contradiction was so intense that it could only be resolved through war. Finally, the two of them fought in the Banquan field. Yan Emperor was the sun god, and he had the fire god Zhurong under him, so he used fire attack. Huangdi was the god of thunder and rain, so he used water attack. You came, and I went for several rounds, and we were evenly matched. Huangdi led 100,000 divine soldiers, 100,000 people, and 100,000 ghost soldiers, with eagles, hawks, kites, and other fierce birds flying in the sky as flags, and tigers, leopards, bears, and other fierce beasts galloping in the wilderness as pioneers, and launched a decisive battle with Yan Emperor. The two armies clashed. The sound of killing shook the sky. The white blades shone in the sun. The war was extremely cruel and fierce. The battlefield flowed like a river of blood, and the wooden weapons floated. In the end, the war ended with the victory of the young and strong Huangdi. After the Battle of Banquan, Yan Emperor realized that his era was over, so he followed the trend and retired bravely. He came to the remote south and became the god in charge of the south. Together with the fire god Zhurong, they worked together to govern the 12,000 hand Lai area in the south, and were in charge of the summer season of the year. Yan Emperor, his wife, was Tingwo, the daughter of Chishui. The boy she gave birth to with Yan Emperor was named Yanju. Yanju gave birth to Jiebing. Jiebing gave birth to Shiqi, and Shiqi gave birth to the fire god Zhurong. Zhurong was exiled to the Yangtze River basin and gave birth to Gonggong, the water god, who later angrily hit Mount Buzhou. Gonggong's son Shuqi was born with a strange appearance. His head was flat as a knife. Another son was called Hotu, the god of land. The earth god Hotu gave birth to the time god Ming, who had 12 children, including Kundun, Zi Year, Chifenruo, Chao Year, Sheti Ge, Yin Year, and other 12 Tai Sui gods. Hotu also had a grandson, Kwafu, who chased the sun. Yan Emperor had 4 daughters, and the fates of these 4 daughters were different. One of them had the best fate. Yan Emperor had a reign official under him named Chisongzi. This person liked to make elixirs and often took a kind of water jade, which is crystal. Over time, his body changed, and finally, he jumped into the fire and let his body burn. As a result, he was reborn and became a fairy. Yan Emperor, his daughter, was very convinced of Chisongzi since she was a child. After Qisongzi became a Taoist, she followed Qisongzi to Kunlun Mountain and cultivated immortality in the stone house where the Queen Mother of the West lived. Finally, after taking water products and burning, she also got rid of her mortal body and became a fairy. She has been traveling around the world with Qisongzi. Yan Emperor also had a daughter who learned Taoism and became an immortal. She lived on a mulberry tree in Nanyang Ai Mountain. Sometimes her body turned into a white magpie, and sometimes she remained a woman. Yan Emperor was extremely sad when he saw her strange behavior. He tried every means to lure her down, but he failed, no matter how hard he tried. Later, Yan Emperor simply had someone set a fire under the tree in an attempt to force her down. However, in the flames, the young and beautiful girl shed her flesh and blood body and rose slowly into the sky. Since then, people have burned the bird's nest on this tree into ashes every year, mixed water, and fed silkworms. It is said that in this way, the hatched silkworms can produce more and better silk. Yan Emperor's other daughter was named Yaoji. She was a passionate girl, but unfortunately, she died just when she reached the age of marriage. A wisp of her soul floated to Guyao Mountain and turned into a yao grass, which bloomed beautiful yellow flowers and bore fruits like dodder seeds. People who eat this fruit will be loved by everyone. The Emperor of Heaven pitied her for dying early, so he made her the god of clouds and rains of Wushan. In the morning, she turned into beautiful morning clouds, floating in the valleys, and in the evening, she turned into the evening rain, pouring out her sorrows. She was always so affectionate, waiting for someone who understood her. Emperor Yan also had a daughter named Envoi, whose deeds were the most tragic. It is said that once she went to the East China Sea for a trip, and a storm suddenly arose on the sea, and she unfortunately drowned in the sea. Her soul did not dissipate and turned into a Jingwei bird with a flower head, white beak, and red feet. She deeply resented the sea for swallowing up her young life and vowed to fill the sea, so she kept carrying stones and branches from the West Mountain to fill the sea. And her spirit was really comparable to that of Yugong moving mountains. Folks also called this bird the Emperor's daughter bird. The Jin dynasty poet Tao Yuanming once wrote the poem, "Jingwei carries a small piece of wood to fill the sea," praising this perseverance.